Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of our PAOcast entitled Gabi Na, Paolo. Here we talk about anything and everything under the night sky, and tonight we're going to talk about a wonderful short story. It was first published in the Philippine Free Press back in 2007, and then it went on to win the second prize in the Philippine Free Press Awards for the essay category. Tonight, we're going to talk about Impermanent Residencies by Lawrence Ypil. But before that, let's introduce our not one, but two special guests for our episode this evening. Both of them are my classmates in the ASHS, whom I can say have a deep appreciation for short stories that are able to make one really think about our world today. So let's all give a virtual round of applause to our good friend, to two of my good friends, Marcus and Jeremy. So Marcus, Jeremy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm alright.
I'm good.
Okay, buhay pa ba tayo sa mga ACADS?
Yes po.
Okay, good. You're still alive despite all the ACADS that are happening nowadays. So let's start off this discussion with Marcus. So Marcus, can you just briefly discuss to our listeners right now about what Impermanent Residencies is all about?
Okay, so this essay talks about the author's childhood experiences, where he explained how he grew up differently compared to the rest of the society. He also showed how his own family tried to alienate him in his own house. To cut it short, he revealed several childhood memories wherein he was considered an outcast to the society since he struggled to fit himself into the standard societal norms. So the characters here include, the author, the one who's being called the outcast of the society. Then his parents, before they were able to bear children, they struggled to have them. So therefore, his mother went to a session while his father was a godfather to many of his friends' children. And while his brother, he's being favored more by his parents compared to the author. So
Yeah. Okay, so yung characters natin is yung main four characters we only really need to care about is yung narrator, yung author,
yeah,
and then yung two parent, yung mother, father niya, tas yung older brother niya, tas yung napapansin natin na yung mother and father gusto talaga silang magkaanak, and then yung older brother ng narrator, ng author, is like the pride of the family, he's the pride of the town, parang sobrang nakaka-proud that he's their child. Okay. So, Jeremy, let's try to build on what Marcus said already. Can you try to briefly discuss the general timeline or storyline of this short story?
So it starts out with some anecdotes pretty much. And he gave a little bit of background, his parents and the family's history and everything that was before he came into the world. And until that point, pretty much, it was more of a family of three. And it always seemed like they intended it to just be a family of three. As like he mentioned throughout the story that majority of their photo albums was just pretty much the three of them. And he never really had his own room, as he only stayed in their guest room. Now, for the setting at least, it takes place in Cebu, his hometown, and pretty much the most significant places that in this story is their home and his school, as this where major experiences happen. And for the point of view for the whole thing, it's coming from the author himself. It's in a first person point of view, and he's bringing us through his experiences through his own eyes. So yeah.
That's so it's like we can see that from the very start, the author is treated like an outsider by his family. He's not really included, and he's not even given he's just given the guest room, which may not mean much to the parents, but then it may send a signal to the author itself. As it takes place at Cebu around, if I recall correctly, around the 80s, 90s, correct? In a small
80s.
community in Cebu, yeah, in the 80s. So yeah, okay. So now that we know how the what the story is generally about, or how the story goes, and how the story goes, Marcus, can you help our listeners realize what the narrative structure of this essay is?
So the structure used in the essay is deeping into the well. So in the essay, the author was able to take on and endure the life that he had to deal with that he had to deal with later on as a gay person. So as shown in the essay, he was able to live with the discrimination brought to him by the society and instead use those experiences to reflect and understand the world surrounding him at a deeper meaning.
So dipping into the well, so it's like even if so it's not just like the typical chronological story of events. It's more like going deeper into these events, like going behind, contemplating what this might mean, like going deeper, or as they say, dipping into the well. So
It's a pretty B plot line.
So yeah, that's the thing. Well, for me personally, I think that the nice thing with this plot line and this narrative structure is that you really get to be immersed into the author's thoughts. It's like you really feel that you really feel that you're the author. As a reader, you feel that you're in the author's position. As a gay person, as a person who's not really accepted by his family, by the community. So that's the nice thing. Well, that's one of the nice things with this essay, that's able to convey so much meaning and really impact the reader, make the reader really think about what it is to be a gay man in Philippine society. So like, since it's a dipping into the well, so I think if you read this, it's more of a flashback style. So well, the entire thing is a flashback. So it's written from a modern perspective, and then looking back at his experiences as a young gay kid in Cebu. So even though it's not your typical story, you can still somehow see your climax, your rising action, your stuff like that. The typical Freytag's pyramid is a story. But then more than the pyramid, more than the rising action, more than the climax, it's really connecting with the author. It's really understanding the author's thoughts, and it's as if you're experiencing it for yourself. So yeah, diba?
Yeah.
I think you guys can agree with that naman, no?
Yep.
Okay, so Jeremy, can you discuss yung approach to nonfiction that was used in this essay?
So, I mean, I guess how I saw it was that he followed Philip Lapata's approach, which it gives more emphasis to the self or the author, as he was taking us through his own experiences in his own eyes, and it really gives a really great feeling of intimacy between the author and the reader, as he's sharing really sensitive experiences and topics, but it's as if he doesn't mind, since it's like he's known us for a while, even if we're just reading it right now. And it's like just really great that he can give off this vibe of intimacy in just a body of text, and it's not just a mere summary of his childhood, but it's pretty much a deep dive of his emotions, and along with some insights that slowly developed throughout the years of his life. So yeah, it's
Yeah, true. The fact that it's so deep and it doesn't just feel like a chronological timeline of events, no? It feels like you knew this guy. He feels like you've been friends with him forever, and then it's just so sad, but it hits
Yeah,
in Filipino, parang malakas yung tama.
yeah, yeah,
Malakas yung, parang, wow, it's just so impactful. And then it's nice to know his feelings regarding it, but it's also sad to know it because,
yeah.
well, the
Something
world isn't
we can
really meant
relate to.
for, yeah, the world really isn't meant for people who don't abide by the norm, by the societal norms we've come to um think is normal. So, do you guys have any insight? So, like, I think we can all agree that this essay, it's really deep, no? It's malakasing tama sa puso, malakasing tama.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any insights regarding this? Marcos, do you have any insights?
So for me, sometimes our world only sometimes our world only revolves around genetic terms wherein people just only think just inside the box without taking others into consideration. So therefore, the special ones such as the LGBTQ people are mostly the ones neglected and therefore struggle to find their belongingness into the society. And as shown in the essay, the author's life as a gay person became a challenge to him living in a society filled with standard norms. And given the fact that he strayed away from it, made him a freak to the rest of the society.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a true but very, very sad reality. Um, Jeremy, any lessons, insights?
I don't know about insights, but from what I gather from the last few paragraphs, it's pretty depressing for him to say that. It's as if he he knew he didn't belong here in the first place, and since he knew that, he was prepared to forgo everything that he has, because technically he never really owned them in the first place. Like that that one slot in the family, who which was supposedly supposed to be a girl, turned into a boy that they didn't expect nor wanted, because they were expecting his parents was expecting something else. And the fact that they his family never even made the effort to just make a room for him. They just gave him the guest room. It's like it's like I don't know. When I read that, the first thing that came into mind was that he was a mere afterthought, and they never really wanted him in the first place. So yeah, it's just sad, like the way the author talks about his experiences as a gay man. But at least for his community, everything's getting better. There's a, a lot more progression from his time to ours. They're slowly becoming much more accepted into society as we speak. So yeah.
Mm, yeah, true. Um, if you read the news, if you read the current news,
Yeah.
there is work being done. Work has been done, but then there is still so much work to be done. So hopefully, our senators, our lawmakers, they'll be able to, you know, pass bills such as the Soji Equality Bill, just so that they're given assurance that no matter, even if they may differ from what we consider as normal, even if they're not straight or heterosexual people, they're
Mm.
still valued, they're still important, and they're still guaranteed the same rights, even if they're considered as different.
Yeah.
So just really so yeah. Siguro, and then the insight I realized was that it's just sad. It's very sad. The sad reality of being a gay person in society, you know, just because you're like this,
Yeah.
wala na. You know more na.
Yeah.
You don't have a place here. You don't even have your own, you don't really even have your own home. You don't even really have your own slot or place in your family. And that's just a really sad story.
Yeah.
Ay, well, maybe sad, but then siguro yung parting message natin sa mga viewers natin is that there's a lot of work to be done in
Yeah.
terms of in terms of LGBTQIA plus rights and SOGI. So yeah, lots of work is still to be done, especially in the Philippines. So I guess that ends our podcast for tonight.
Yeah.
Wow, what a deep and
Mhm.
super fruitful discussion, no, Marcos and Jeremy.
Mhm.
Parang ang deep naman, ang colorful naman. Pero at least my message tayo sa mga viewers natin now. You know, there's so much work to be done for the LGBT
Yep.
community. So, thank you so much, Jeremy and Marcos, for joining us tonight for this wonderful discussion about impermanent residences. So, thank you as well to all the listeners all out on YouTube. And if you want to contact us through Instagram, Messenger, Twitter, feel free to. Okay, so that's all for the second episode of Gabi Na, Paolo.